Welcome to Unleash Your Inner Badass episode number 22. We're super excited to be here with you. You got Kat and me today, Kat and Fran. We want to talk about integrity today. And so often, and let us know where you're joining, where you're coming in from. And I want you to drop in when you think about the word integrity, what comes to mind? Let us know what comes to mind, because so often when we think of integrity, we think about keeping integrity with other people and keeping your word. You say something to somebody, I will do something by such a date, and your word is your integrity is your word, or your word is anyway. But you feel like you have integrity if you keep your word and you do something and you keep your promise to somebody by whatever date. But actually, the most important integrity that you can have is to yourself. And I want to talk about that today, because it's very easy to make a commitment to somebody and then you have to keep that commitment. But how often do you make a commitment to yourself? I'm going to I'm going to do live video. I'm going to exercise every day. I'm going to eat clean. And then just because you've said it to yourself, there's nobody, nobody's going to know if you don't do it. Nobody's going to know. And so you don't keep that integrity to yourself. And that's where it starts. I feel it's and I'm the first to admit, I say I'm going to walk 10,000 steps every day. Well, today, I have done 6,470. Okay. I haven't done 10,000 steps today. And, am I going to keep my word to myself and go for a quick walk after we've done this episode and keep my word to myself? I'm going to drink, 4 liters of water a day. The water bottles are lined up. Okay. Do I keep my word to me? Do you?
I think integrity to yourself goes very close with boundaries. And for the longest time, I always thought that boundaries is something between you and other people, right? Just like integrity, it's between you and other people. But actually, the most important boundary and integrity is between you and yourself, because probably 99% of people don't, like Fran said, don't keep the word that we give to ourselves because we think it's not important. Like, we always put other people's needs, other people's values, other people's dreams, and our expectations about us first, right? And we totally ignore what our own soul is telling us, right? We know what we want, but we either ignore it, we push it away, we tell ourselves, not right now, it's not important, right? And eventually, that's usually called midlife crisis. Your soul cannot be ignored anymore. It's gonna shout loud and clear, that's what I need, and that's what I want from you. And if you're not give it to it, you're gonna feel like you failed in everything in life. That's what happened to me, and that's what happens to many, many people. So we want to help you to realize and to, I don't know, maybe establish some routines and habits to honor your own boundaries, your own integrity, your own wishes and desires, and pay attention to them and listen to them and honor them, right? Because it's important.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think, Kat? And I'm just thinking out loud now, but so often I think in order to set those boundaries, in order to keep those promises to ourselves, in order to have integrity with ourselves, sometimes you actually need an accountability partner. You need somebody else to say, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to make sure I'm meditating every day. I actually made this commitment to my coach, and I said, okay, I'm going to be meditating every day, and then I am accountable to him until I think until it becomes a habit to, and it's a habit. It's a habit to then think, okay, I need to look after me first before I can. And we talk about this often, that you need to look after yourself and keep those boundaries and keep those promises and keep those things that fill your soul, those things that fill your cup, and make sure that you do that first before you you do the right thing for appearances. And so often we do things, okay, to for gratification, okay. We do things for other people, okay, to be able to look like we're doing the right thing
Yeah.
instead of doing the right thing for ourselves.
I also want to remind us what usually happens when you violate those boundaries that you establish with yourself, or that integrity. What usually happens if you make a promise, let's say, oh, I'm going to go for a walk every morning at 8 o'clock or whatever, between 8 and 9. That was my recent promise. And when we do it, when we honor that commitment, it makes us feel good about ourselves, and it boosts our own self confidence. So once you honor those commitments that you make to yourself, it gives you that inner sense of accomplishment and satisfaction, and it boosts your self confidence, which is really crucial if you want to accomplish anything. Like, it spreads to other areas of your life, right? If you feel good about yourself, you're gonna be doing better in at work. You're gonna be doing better
Mhm.
in your relationship. You're gonna be more organized, more focused. So it's kind of like your well-being routine, like your wellness routine, right? So, and if you don't, so let's say I told myself I'm going to go for a walk every morning, but it's been a couple of weeks since I've done it. I feel like unconsciously, right? I don't tell myself, "Oh, you're a loser because you didn't go for a walk." It happens on subconscious level, where I feel like I'm not I'm not what I want to be. Kind of like gives you that dissatisfaction cloud that's always following you and telling you, you didn't do that, you didn't do that. And then does the opposite. It lowers your self confidence. It doesn't give you that sense of inner satisfaction. And you're always going to feel like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm
It
not
knows
this.
your sense of self-worth. Yeah, as
It's
well.
kind of like what we
Yeah.
call the habits of failure.
Hmm.
We form that habits of failure, and later on, because we become familiar to that energy of failure, we don't want to do anything because we know we're not going to succeed, right? And we pushing away that, oh, why should I bother? I know it's going to be bad anyways. So, and sometimes we even get addicted to that feeling rather than pushing through, being a little bit uncomfortable in the beginning and doing anyway thing that you're not comfortable doing. Maybe it's raining, maybe your ankles hurt, maybe your dogs are being assholes, or whatever excuse you give yourself not to do it, right? Just pushing through it for a little bit and being uncomfortable despite the all excuses you can give yourself, it's gonna help you to form those habits of success.
Hmm.
That's how important it is, I think, to follow through anything that you promise to yourself.
Yeah. Let us know what's coming up for you, and let us know, um, whether you struggle actually keeping those promises to yourself, whether that is something, and what is it that you struggle keeping, you know? Because for me, it was always, I'd go to bed on a Sunday night and think, okay, this week I'm going to eat clean. This week I'm going to do, do all my 10,000 steps every day. And then Monday starts and, you know,
Oh, the good also I want to point out too, a lot of times when we notice the things that we didn't do, we judge ourselves,
yeah,
and
you get into judgment.
we beat ourselves up, right, for not doing it. Instead, actually, you will benefit a lot more if you give yourself some grace and acknowledge that you actually human, and everyone does mistakes, and humans tend to be lazy sometimes. It's part of our nature, right?
Sometimes we set unrealistic expectations on ourselves.
Yeah, we do.
You know, we "Okay, I'm gonna do all these things," and it's not realistic, it's not reasonable for you. And so, yes, giving yourself some grace and thinking, "Okay, well, actually, number 1, what did I do today?" So celebrating those wins, celebrating and it's always important to celebrate the wins. "Okay, so here's what I did." Just like in your business, if you are evaluating in your business, what's 3 things that are working, 2 things that aren't working. Okay, so what might I do differently tomorrow? Okay, and actually reining it in a little bit so that you're not beating yourself up, so you're not in judgment, so you're not, thinking it's just a total shit show happening in my life, and rather think, "Okay, well, actually, what is reasonable for me today? What can I do?" Maybe you've got 6 kids and they're on school holidays and, you have 5 dogs and 6 kids and cats, and you don't have the time to do all the things. So what is reasonable for you? And setting reasonable expectations.
Yeah.
Um,
So I also try to say that there will be times when you can't keep that commitment, right? There will be plenty of those times, and it's okay. It's part of the journey, it's part of the process. But instead of judging yourself, beating yourself up, because it's going to be harder to start doing it again, because you will have in mind, like, oh, I'm going to be a loser again. I'm not going to complete that task again. And you're going to resist it. But when you acknowledge, okay, I didn't do it, I know it, I'm aware of it, but I'm not a loser. I'm just the person who need maybe one extra push, right? Who needs a little bit more extra time. So treating yourself with that unconditional love and patience, like someone we call God, we want, we like think of us, right? Usually we're like, oh, when you say, that, or love from a parent, that unconditional, when you mess up, not everyone had actually those kind of parents. I did. But
yeah,
whatever you can relate that love to, whether it's God, whether it's parent, maybe it's your grandparent, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your best friend who treat you nicely and with that love and respect, no matter what you do, you have to give that energy and that respect and that love to yourself, because that's usually what is missing in our life. We try to go and find love and respect somewhere else when we don't have anything coming towards ourselves from ourselves. And usually, what we're trying to seek from other people, whether it's attention, whether it's love, whether it's respect, whether it's understanding, whether it's listening, usually that very same thing we're missing from ourselves. But we're trying to fill that hole, getting things from outer world when it's actually first need to come from you.
from inside.
I hope that made sense.
We're
To me,
going back to we're going
huge
back to
it
the
was
same
a
thing.
huge aha moment to me when usually, like, I think it was something me and my husband were arguing, like, "Well, if he was just understanding what I mean, da 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 da." And then someone told me, "Usually what you're seeking from other people, that's what you need to give to yourself." And I start digging deeper and like, "Holy crap. I need to give myself attention." I need to feel like I understand myself, right? And once you do it to yourself, you will feel like other people get in you too. Like it happens almost automatically and effortlessly.
And it's that energy. It's that energy then that you put out.
Yeah.
It's and when you are and often I think it comes from a lack energy, when you are in lack, when you're feeling like you're not good enough, when you're feeling like you're not worthy, when you're in complete judgment of yourself and not actually, recognizing all the abundance that you already have in your life, okay? And not recognizing that you're already a badass, okay? Not recognizing what you already have inside of you. Um, when you shift that energy and you recognize what you already have in your life, recognize the abundance you already have in your life, recognize and just start loving yourself and loving yourself where you're at right now. Where you're at right now. You may not be, none of us are perfect. Hell, nobody's perfect, but loving yourself where you're at right now. Okay. And then that energy is so much more attractive to other people, okay, than this hatred, this judgment, this, lack of self-worth, this um, lack of, I can't even think of a word right now, but yeah. Um, so yeah, and I'm not committing to the 2 hours a day I thought I would when I joined. I'm even having difficulty committing to 30 minutes right now. Okay. So what can you commit to?
Even if you can commit to only 5 minutes a day,
Yeah,
be grateful that you can do
yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
Not like, "Oh my god, I'm such a blah, blah, blah. I only can do 5 minutes. I see someone else doing 2 hours." No, you have 5 minutes to give to your business and your commitments today. Be
And
excited
then
about it and be grateful that you have 5 minutes.
and then when you give yourself the 5 minutes to your business, I want you to celebrate the heck out of it. I want you to jump up and down. I want you to celebrate. I want you to feel the joy in your life that you did it, okay?
Pay attention to your energy.
Because
And to everything. When you do that thing for 5 minutes with joy and gratitude and excitement, and you or versus you do that same thing for 5 minutes with kinda like, "Oh, here it goes again. Nothing's gonna come out of this. I'm such a loser." You're gonna get different outcome, and
yeah,
it's the same 5 minutes.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And it's yeah, it all comes down to how we treat ourselves, how we love ourselves. And I'm the first to admit, the last few days, I've been in a funk big time. Okay. Maybe it's coming back from Vegas and it's like, huh, I don't know. I don't know. But um, I spent a lot of time meditating, in the last 2 days. Um, so it's making sure that, I had things that I needed to get done, but my head wasn't in the right space. So I knew I needed to go and take care of me. So, yeah, these have been on my face, headphones on, and meditating. And yeah, so let us know. Let us know what your biggest takeaways have been. And I would love to hear one thing that you're going to commit to for yourself. What is one thing that you have been neglecting for yourself that you have not been, that you've not been, that you've maybe said in your head, like, oh, I'm going to do this, need to take better care of me, that I need to do all these things, and then you don't. So, what is one thing that you have actually been neglecting? Because it is neglect. You wouldn't do it to your children. You probably wouldn't do it to your husband or your pets, but we're very quick to neglect ourselves.
So true. I also wanna share one epiphany I had during the workshop, by the way. It was in-person workshop, probably 6, 5 years ago. There was a lady who got up and she was very frustrated and she expressed um, why, like she couldn't connect the dots, and it was internal conflict, right? It's always internal conflict. So she said, well, I listen to all these women, they're inspired, they do it for their kids, they want to leave legacy, they want to make money and pay for kids college, or them they do it to retire their spouse, da 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 da. So she got up and she said, I don't have any of this. She said, my husband passed away like a few years ago. We don't have kids. It's me and my dog. I don't have like anything that I need to be doing for or anybody. And I just got like, I was like a lightning bolt going through my body. I was like, oh, I know. Right? Like one of those, like, oh my gosh. So she needed to do it for herself.
Mhm.
And honestly, it hit me like a ton of bricks. We all doing it for ourselves, but we rarely admit it, right? My husband doesn't want me to make more money. He doesn't need me to make more money, right? My kids probably prefer if I would be home driving them around versus sitting on the computer and learning some social media skills. They don't need any of that, right? They don't need me to be anything or anybody rather than what I already am. So I realized that at that moment that I am doing it for me,
Yeah.
not to pay my debt, not to retire my husband, not to pay for my kids' college. I'm doing it for me. Like it was like so, I don't know. And then I was like, well, is it selfish? Right? The first thing came to my mind after I realized that is it selfish to do it for me and not for other people? No, because on your way, on that journey that you're gonna start for you, you're gonna inspire so many people and put them on that journey of self discovery, self transformation, realization. And the money usually shows up as the result of it, right? The result of our personal growth. So it's almost kind of like you have to do it for yourself because that's pretty much the only way when you're going to stay with that integrity with yourself, knowing that you're actually doing it for you in the first place. Yes, other people are going to benefit from it as well, but first and foremost, you're doing it for you, not
Mhm.
for anyone else. So when I realized that, and I realized it's not actually selfish to be in the integrity with yourself and put yourself first and learn how to love yourself and learn how to respect yourself, everything changed. Like everything changed. And yeah, I'm still human. Sometimes I don't keep commitments that I made to myself, but I also know that is part of being human. And instead of judging myself, I'm gonna just acknowledge that I'm not perfect and I'm gonna do better next time. So I wanted to share that. I hope, someone else had that aha moment like I did.
Yeah, I love that. Love it. Awesome. So, um, I don't have anything else to add, Kat. Um, I think I love these. Most people taking better care of themselves and sleep, needing more sleep. Yeah, I I actually tell the beaches I actually have to be in bed at 8:30 at night because my husband gets up at 4:30 in the morning. So I wake up with him at 4:30 in the morning. So if I'm going to get 8 hours sleep, I actually have to be asleep at 8:30 at night. They laugh at me, but you know, I'm awake when they are
Still awake
um, they're
for
still awake.
the previous day. You're already awake for
Yeah,
the
but
next
it's
day, and we're
but it's
still
a
and we're still awake for the day before. So we live in the past and you live in the future.
I live in the future. It's a commitment to me and it's a commitment to my husband. And yeah, that's one thing that I have been much better at doing. But yeah, keep those keep those promises to yourself. Love yourself. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself a little grace because the wheels will fall off. Shit will happen. Things won't get done. You won't keep all the promises to yourself. But then be realistic and reasonable with your the promises that you make to yourself. And if you are looking for more mindset training, if you are looking to get past um,
You're limiting beliefs.
your limiting beliefs, the
All
shit
about
that you're telling yourself, okay, and step into the badass that you already are, that
already.
you just don't realize is inside of you. There's a link above this video. There's a questionnaire to fill in. Go fill in that questionnaire. I'm going to tell you right now, and we've been saying this for a little while, and it's not long now that this course is going to be a lot more expensive, like a lot more. So if you want to grab it at a bargain price, and they're what, like 47 videos? How many videos? 48 videos, something like that. There is a yeah, a lot of content, crazy. And it's incredible content. So go grab it. There's a link above this video. And then we will see you all again
Next
next
week.
week. Yeah. So drop in your biggest takeaways before we go. Drop in your biggest takeaways, or if you're watching the replay, drop in your biggest takeaways. Let us know where you've been joining us from, and we will see you next week. And thanks for joining us. Bye, everyone.